Well, good morning and welcome back to the Mariner. Here we are, early morning in East River Marine, which is in Chester, just slightly to the north and east of Lunenburg. I came across yesterday with the boat. I discovered why I had so much trouble with the engine on the way in. When I started the engine and put it in drive, it really felt like it's a folding two-blade prop, and it really felt like one of the blades wasn't opening, which you can get sometimes if a bit of weeds got in it, something like that. So managed to get it into the dock and basically sailed it onto the dock. Next day went down with Bella, my daughter, jumped in the water, had a look. Easy to see the problem. One of the blades was missing off the two-blade prop. 50% of the prop has disappeared. I guess old split pin came loose, the pin came out, the blade came off, and that's that. So did a nice little bit of seamanship, which I wish I could have shown you, but I was kind of busy, and that was turning a 60-foot boat around at the dock just using lines and using the angle of the wind and the winches to grind it in. And anyway, did all that, got the headsail unfurled, undid the lines, sheeted on, shot sideways across the pen. Looked, everyone's kind of giving me a bit of a ooh as they think it's gonna hit the other dock, but at the last moment let fly the sheet, used what speed I got with no sideways pressure, came around the end of the dock and then off and out. So let's make it exciting if we can. Anyway, so we came in and went onto the mooring here at East Chester yesterday, and now here is Falcon inside the travel lift well, and she's just about to get lifted. You can see she pretty much is square to the very back. This well is 20 foot wide, and she fits in with about 3 inches either side. We've got a little problem that we're just dealing with now, which is the spreaders. If you see up there, the spreaders from this perspective look like they're going to fit through nice and easily, but actually the boat's slightly forward of the travel lift well. The actual situation is that the spreaders are too wide to go into the travel lift, and specifically to go into the travel lift where the where the turning blocks are at the top. Let's have a quick look here. So you see at the top of the travel lift up there, we have those falls where the cables come down and then come down to the straps. Well, at the front here, you see how the spreaders are slightly forward. At the front here, there's only 19'6" between the blocks. I didn't know that detail until we came here, but we have faith. So what we're going to do is at the very, very widest part of the rig up here is this lower spreader, and it actually then gets narrower as it comes down to the chain plates. So we've come in onto the well at high tide, where you see how high she is at the moment, and we're just going to let her drop a little bit. Everyone's having a coffee, and that means that the spreaders, the tip of the spreaders, which is the problem, we're out by like 2 inches, the tip of the spreader will drop down below the turning blocks, and then she'll be able to sneak her way in past the blocks. That'll bring the mast to about here, halfway down the travel lift, and then we'll be able to lift her up. And then when she's in orientation in the well, the upper arm of the travel lift will be kind of here somewhere, or by the radar, but anyway, it'll be at the narrower part of the rigging, so she'll sneak in. So when we leave, when we're doing these videos and it's getting time for us to leave, can someone please leave a comment which says, remember to disconnect one of the bolts on the root of the spreader, and that'll allow the spreader to fold in slightly. We'll stabilize the mast with halyards, and then this won't be an issue. So the good job is that she fits in, and the guys here at East River Marine are fantastic problem solvers and very much friends of what we're doing. All the rest of our boats have branding on which says East River Marine is the home of the ocean class. That's these older IMOCA 60s and Volvo 60s that we've got, and they're brilliant. So she's in there now. So whatever you're doing with your travel lift is probably easier than what we're doing with our travel lift. So remain calm, remain collected. That's always the main thing. So we can go over here now and have a look at the keel well. One of the great things that we were able to organize with East River Marine is that we have this well, which if you've watched some of the Not Under Command videos that I did, which is more about Challenger or Volvo 60 being here, you'll have seen this before. And what we were able to do is negotiate with them and be able to have this big hole in the floor, which is a real investment on their behalf and support of what we're doing. You can't really work on these boats if they're going to have the keel at ground level, because the tow rails would be 21 foot in the air, which then means you have to have full body harnesses on and things when you're working on the boat. So here we go. Here is the big hole that we excavated. The timbers that are in there, normally we have the timbers at the bottom, and the keel will sit on that. Because we're just not sure about where this keel is going to sit, I've just put them up to the side, and then we'll drop them down as we get into position. So we've also got over here, we'll meet them later, Esprit de Corps, who own this boat. This was Our Sport 1. It was in the 2001 Volvo race. It's exactly the same as Challenger, but you see it's got a carbon rig. It came third in the Volvo race, and we'll meet Max later on, who's the captain of that boat, and sounds like he's working. That's an early start. So we've got our containers over here with our equipment in. So we just got to have our cup of coffee, maybe have a cigarette. I guess Kathy's not here, so I can get away with that. And wait for the tide to go down, remain calm. So you can see from right here, you see over there, you see the rig. Oh, where's my finger? Oh, this is very tricky. The rig now is exactly at the height of those pulleys. So we just got to let the boat drop in the well, by a foot maybe. So the rule of 12ths with the tide, over a 6-hour drop of the tide in the first hour, the tide will go down by 1/12 of the possible height change. The second hour it's going to go down by 2/12. The third hour it's going to go down by 3/12. The fourth hour it goes down by another 3/12. The fifth hour it goes down by 2/12, and the last hour it goes down by the last 12th. So we can imagine a bell curve movement of the tide. So it's going to drop very slowly now, and then it's going to speed up, but by the time that happens we'll already be free and clear. So yep, time to relax, keep it calm, keep it together. We did not one bit of shouting, not one bit of excitement, not one bit of anything, which is exactly the way you should go boating. Keep the shouting for safety stuff, and we'll deal with this problem, and next time we see you in a couple of minutes, we should be in the lifting process. Look for that. Right, so out she comes. We're going very well here. The last thing we just got to be careful of is that the boom is still sitting at the height that it holds up in the lazy jacks. Is the boat going to have to go so high that the boom becomes a problem hitting that top bar to get the keel? There's still a lot of keel to go yet. Alright, so here comes the keel. Well, here comes the bulb. That cleaning job wasn't too bad. You see the problem though, we've got to get the boom lower, because there's still quite a lot of dock to go, and the keel's only just clear of the water, so we've got to go up like 5 feet here. I think we can make 4.5 feet. So okay, so now up top on the travel lift, we're just going to see how we're doing for clearance. You see the distance between the top bar and the boom is pretty much exactly the distance between the keel getting out and the lip of the well, so it's all very, very close, within an inch. If it goes wrong, it'll be out by 6 inches. So yeah, you keep going. Okay, really, right now we need the keel to be clearing the well. Yeah, still good here. We're now removing the sail to see if it'll... There's a bit of a chit chat.
And you look good and straight, so...
Yeah. An unusual view at the top of the...
I think we got it there, Chris.
Okay, I've got a couple of inches if you need it.
You still got a couple of inches?
Yeah.
Well, we'll save them for high spots on the ground.
Okay, so I think we've made it. So this is the crucial bit. Will the keel get over the well lip? This is very close. So the boat fits out by the fold to the mainsail. Looking good. Is it over the lip?
We're out, buddy. We're right out.
Hey, we're out. Well, here we are. Tried to get the boat out and got very, very close at the top with the boom, but I guess we've got a lot of work to do because that is a boat that's out of the water. Yes. So 4.5 meters draft. She's out, but you can see because this yard has lifted these before, and that's one of the reasons we're here, because they've got this expertise. See the lip that goes around the well is cut out in this area. If that was still there, we literally wouldn't be able to get the boat out. Clearance at the moment is that much, and at the top, as you just saw in those videos, it's I would say 2 inches, but then you'll literally have the boom against the top rail. So when we do this next time, if it looks like I'm about to put the boat back in the water, please leave a comment that says remember to take the boom off at the gooseneck and loosen off the spreaders. So, but with those two things in place, I think we're good to go. You can see now my incredible design of prop. Very fast, the one-bladed prop. Turns the entire boat into one of those vibrating motel room beds whenever it's turning. You see the rudder shapes now. A lot of that footage we had from me underwater in Cherbourg was all corrupted and nasty. We couldn't really see much, but actually compared to what the bottom of this boat looked like when I went underneath there was probably 2 full inches of growth and a lot of polyps and a lot of kelp and all sorts of crap. You see that the lovely shape on the back of these rudders. There are a spare set of rudders, which are the older ones, where the cord length from the front to the back of the rudder doesn't extend past the back of the boat. These have been done so that when they ventilate into the stream behind the back of the boat. We can see here the angle of the rudders, which obviously as the boat's heeling over, the rudder that's in the water, the leeward rudder, then becomes vertical. And we can see for the first time where the dagger boards come out. It's such a big boat, it actually only weighs just under 9 ton, just under 9,000 kilos. There we go, and that's where the, yeah, you can see that. That's where the dagger board comes out. Actually, that cleanup job's not as bad as I thought. I thought I was gonna be really embarrassed by how I'd left it, but yeah. Okay, so this is, from that first day on the ferry, can we get it to Nova Scotia? This was the last part. I have to say in the last half an hour, it was a case of very close to can't do it. Because our friends here at East River Marine in East Chester are, well, they're professional and they're bloody helpful, and they'll always bend over, try and make things work. They've really made this happen for us, but wow, we did it. Right, now we just have to get it across the uneven surface of the boatyard and into the hole. Can it get any closer? I don't think so. Well, we're kind of clear and easy now. Bulb's going over the hole, so then we just got to block it, chock it. You can see that the Volvo 60 that's over here has got splashes, those frames that it sits into. We don't have that, but we'll build them soon. It's gonna be on stands, so that's the last part of the gig. So I put those bits of wood in there to distribute the weight of the keel. We don't want it settling any. That's exactly how it was designed to go. Wonderful. All right, so we're just getting the stands underneath now. Boat's got to be secure and on these stands for the whole winter. Obviously, 4 ton of it is in the keel, which is down low. These stands will hold the rest of it, and we may put halyards out and put big anchors on the ground because of the windage of the rig, you know. But the good thing with this position in the yard was well chosen because the prevailing winds is from the north, which is over here, and so they're bow on into it, which is a lot easier on the boat. So yeah, we'll have to do it on a calm day as well. We've got to get the jib back down to reduce windage. We've got to get the main off, but yeah, looking good so far. Okay, job's nearly done. We're just putting the weight now onto the stands and onto the keel. See, the straps are going loose. The last part is, can we get the travel lift separated from the boat? Should be right, because the spreaders are up high. I think, fingers crossed, we've done it. And there we go. The travel lift's free. We just lifted the boom up a little bit. We've got to put the backstays back on. So we've got no backstays on at all there. Now that is a tight job. Okay, so the fun's over and now it's time to get back to work. I think what we're going to do now is get all of this slime and crap off the boat. This weed is very happy to attach itself even when you're doing 12 knots. So this is the original anti-foul colour up here, this like emergency orange. It's a very particular special kind of anti-foul that goes on these so that if you were inverted and upside down, it'd be easy to see from the air. Same on the keel over here. There we go, to see the keel's got this cool orange paint on it. Then there's a kind of square around the top of the keel to make the boat high vis. We can see a very sad looking propeller situation here. So, so features now, so I've kind of opened the boat up so that she can drain and so that all the ballast tanks can clear out. We've got the boards down so we get a feel for how they fit and look. So obviously you'd only ever have one down at any one time. You'd have the board down, which is the leeward board. The boat tips over and you can see because the angle of these boards, as the boat tips over, the rudder at the back and the board itself become vertical. The boat's designed to sail at about 25 degrees deck angle. So they come straight up, and then imagine this is what the water sees in terms of like lateral resistance. So we've got the fixed keel, which is now canted away from us at 25 degrees as we beat. We've got the leeward board down, which is now vertical, giving maximum surface area. And we've got the rudder, which has gone vertical as we've heeled over. And those rudders are right at the very, very, very back of the boat. So we've got good grip at the back, we've got good grip in the middle, and then we've got our punching tanks, those ballast tanks at the front, full, so that as the boat rides up a wave, instead of getting kind of blown off and pushed off downwind, we've got over 1,000 kilos, 2,500 pound of weight at the front here, which is keeping the boat kind of cemented into the water at the front. And if you're in heavier winds, like going upwind in 30 odd knots, you actually have both of those full, so you've got nearly 5,000 pounds of weight at the front there to keep that the boat attached to the water. So it doesn't just, otherwise as your bow comes out of the water, it just pays off downwind and you lose a couple of feet and you lose a couple of feet, and after tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of waves, that adds up to not going upwind as well as you might. We can also see on these boards that they're asymmetric. You can see the profile at the top, and that they are tow out. Yeah, they are canted somewhat out, and the rudders on this are probably canted out as well. It means that the foils, which are deepest and are providing the most lateral resistance, are themselves pointing somewhat upwind, and that means that the boat, as it's sailing along, is all the time trying to drag itself to windward. So we can see also now from this perspective that this boat, the IMOCA class, allows 2 meters of overhang, 18.3 meters on the waterline. You can see the anti-foul runs right to the very end, but then this boom comes nearly a meter over the back of the boat, and that's because the original skipper, Dominic Wav, wanted to optimize the boat for upwind work. So he knew within the rules, 18.3 meters on the waterline, 2 meters extra on the overhangs allowed. So instead of having 2 meters of bowsprit, which is what you'd always normally have, he put only a meter of bowsprit on the front, which is why it's got this funny, even looking across at Esprit de Corps 4, the ex-Amasport 1, which has now got a carbon bowsprit on, she's probably got a meter there, and that's very, very conservative. If we later on we go back down to the Caribbean or over in the Mediterranean, we start looking at some of the maxis, they'll have 2-3 meters there to get maximum projection of those spinnakers away from the mast and away from the mainsail. So definitely we can see here what's been done to this boat to optimize it for upwind work. And I've driven one of these hulls, as I've discussed before, and I know that this hull is very, very good going upwind. The thing that makes it good is that when you heel it over to 25 degrees and you start sailing upwind, you're actually sailing, you see where the stands are. If we imagine that, let's say this side of the boat's tipped over 25 degrees, where the stands are is actually now the lowest part of the boat, and it rides very, very nicely on that edge. And unbelievably, for an open 60, it makes its way to weather very, very nicely. So job now is to go and get the pressure washer from over there, get it hooked up and get all this crap off. Okay, well, it's going pretty well. I'm just going to show you this side again to remind you what it did look like. This side looking a lot better. It's not got that incredible satisfaction that comes from cleaning something when it goes like from absolutely covered in rubbish to perfect, but we can see here where we're getting back to what it should look like. So not too bad. Keel over here. I'll tell you what, it should anti-foul the entire underside of these boats in this orange stuff. This orange stuff has been on here once around the world, then sat for 10 years out of the water, then sat in the water again for another 2 years and crossed the Atlantic. It's like it's brand new. What are we bothering with all this other stuff for? So the thing with these is always that you think, oh, okay, yeah, we're doing pretty good here. We've got the front half done, and then we just got to do the back half. No, this is about 30% down one side because it's 20 foot wide and it's got this curvature to it, so there's a lot more volume here. But yeah, we're doing okay. I'm really looking forward to cleaning the rudders off. I think they are going to be very satisfying. So check back in a minute while we'll see how it's going.